Corporate greed has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho! Corporate greed has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho! Corporate greed has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho! Corporate greed has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho! Corporate greed has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho! Corporate greed has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho!
What's up, Joe?
Corporate greed has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho! Corporate greed has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho!
I'm good, man. How about you?
Corporate greed has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho! Corporate greed has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho! Corporate greed has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho! Corporate greed has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho! Corporate greed has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho! Corporate greed has got to go, hey, hey!
All right, that was wonderful. So, we got a lot of time to share, don't worry. And, but we also have a lot of people who've taken action leading up to this day to move our money out of Bank of America. And so, I want to ask everyone who has closed an account with Bank of America to come over here. We're going to hear from Debbie first, but I want folks, especially if you have credit cards or statements to tear up, we want to do that all together in unison at the end of folks talking and telling about their experiences, why they closed their account and whatnot. First, I'm going to introduce Debbie Patton. She just recently closed an account at Bank of America, and she's going to talk about Bank of America's transgressions, why we need to hold them accountable, why people shouldn't be banking at Bank of America, and her experience closing her account.
Well, I came down here last Wednesday, just 3 days ago, and closed the joint account that I had here with my mother. And you might ask why I would have an account here when I've been banking across the street with Olympia Federal for 25 years and with Twin County Credit Union for 30 years. Well, the reason is my mother's community bank was bought out by Bank of America. And I'm sure a number of you have experienced the same. And I just wanted to tell you a little bit about my mother so you can see why she would have approved of me closing this account. She was a Marine in World War II. She lost a home she had built through a community bank. She paid her mortgage every month, no matter how poor she was. And she kept a roof over our head. And she paid her taxes. All. And she would have been outraged that Bank of America was not paying their taxes. And especially should have been outraged that they were foreclosing on homes. And I don't know if you know this, but when I came down here to close the account, I had a few words to say with the bank manager. And she said she kept us waiting for quite a long time, and there were several other people who had closed their accounts, and she kept us waiting. And she finally took me back to her desk. She asked me why I was closing. And I told her because my mother had just recently passed away, and now everything had cleared through this Bank of America account, and I was at liberty to close this account because my mother, if she had ever known while she was in the nursing home that Bank of America had foreclosed on 8,000 Washington homes just in the year 2010, she would have probably had a heart attack and died even sooner than she did. So I told the bank manager, I said, I don't know how you can take your bank and take it basically $1 trillion in bailout money and then avoid paying taxes by using every possible tax loophole and tax shelter. I said, There are 371 foreign tax subsidiaries that Bank of America has, many in the Cayman Islands. They're not paying any taxes on the national level, and meanwhile, they're not paying local taxes either. They have this loophole here in the state of Washington that they do not have to pay the business and occupation tax, and every one of you here that's a business owner or have family members that are business owners, every business you frequent here in this state pays a business and occupation tax, but Bank of America does not have to pay it. And I said that that was an outrage, and I didn't see how they could look at themselves in the mirror when they knew that benefits for veterans, for seniors, for disabled, and for children were being cut all across the state while they avoided paying even their business and occupation tax. And I said, I read that the reason they had this tax break from the state of Washington was so that it would promote growth and create jobs. And I said, if it promotes growth and creates jobs, why is Bank of America spending $1.3 million for political campaign contributions and to fund state initiatives that benefit the bank and not the people? And I said, I told her that my mother was a populist and that she thought government should help the people, not the corporations, and shame on Bank of America.
Good deal.
And then I said to her that my mother had been a legal secretary all of her working life, and that she always followed the law, and she always raised us kids to follow the law. And how did Bank of America get away with breaking the law? You may not know this, but Bank of America was fined by the Security Exchange Commission $33 million in 2009 for their fraudulent merger with Merrill Lynch, and they were fined $137.7 million in 2010 for fraud and malpractice with investments for schools and hospitals. And then I told her that I was going to do everything I could to encourage the state of Washington and the Olympia School District to divest their money from the Bank of America and to invest it with a local or regional bank, and that otherwise the lesson that our kids here would be learning is that crime pays.
Very good.
Crime doesn't pay, and that's why we're making them pay today by having thousands of people from all over the country move their money out of Bank of America into our local credit unions. That's what we're here for. And before we hear from other folks, we should do a new chant.
The bailouts cost more than all the wars.
The bailouts cost more than all the wars. The bailouts cost more than all the wars. The bailouts cost more than all the wars. The bailouts cost more than all the wars. The bailouts cost more than all the wars. The bailouts cost more than all the wars. The bailouts cost more than all the wars.
All right, we got other people in here who have closed their accounts. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak about closing their accounts? Come on up, you got about a minute.
Hey.
And we have our postmodern soapbox that you can stand on.
My name's Jim Packard. I'm going to stand the ground. I closed all my accounts. I didn't have one with Bank of America, but I had with Chase and U.S. Bank and other banks. I closed them all, put the money in local credit unions, and I took my mortgage and I refinanced my home. And I just want to say one thing. Be careful who you refinance with.
Yes,
I'm not going to
indeed.
mention a name, but I refinanced with a local credit union. And a month later, I found out they sold my loan to Freddie Mae and Freddie Mac or whatever it is, and now I'm paying to a totally different company. And so if you do that, if you refinance your home, talk to the bank, find out what they're going to do with your loan. Okay. Anyway, I support this group, and I've got a tenant home, and I'm getting ready to come down and join it.
There we go.
I just want to say thank you, and God bless us all. God bless America.
Thank you.
And just so people know, only Federal Savings and Loan is one of the few banks that actually owns all of their mortgages outright. They don't ever sell their loans. That's why I have mine. All right. Who else would like to speak?
Hi, my name is Susan. Hi, Susan. I closed my bank account with Bank of America in the mid-90s. But guess what happened? I was living in San Francisco, and right on the corner was a nice little savings and loan. I thought, that's a better place for my $2.98 or whatever I had in there. So I did that. Lo and behold, not long later, that little savings and loan got bought up by a bank, Great Western. A couple years later, that bank got bought up by Washington Mutual. And then we know what happened to Washington Mutual. So I wound up with Chase. And then I had to close it and start all over again. So be vigilant.
Anyone else who's closed their account? We're trying to stay focused on Bank of America because we're going to be at Chase next. So if you've closed your account, Bank of America, come on up.
Excuse me.
Hey.
Right out.
Yeah.
So I used to be the assistant director for the Fund for Public Interest Research, and I used to work in Washington, D.C. And with that in mind, I had an account with Bank of America, and I had my checks through Bank of America. I had actually paid my rent one month, and they held it for 8 days, waiting for little charges to stack up along the way because I was responsible for paying for some of the company costs for raising awareness about the environment or gay rights. And I was out there just doing my thing until they told me that I had over $1,200 in fees. Wow. Because they stacked them up against me. So promptly, yeah, you can imagine I closed my account. They forcefully put me on a blacklist and told me that I would never get a bank account anywhere else. So for about 4 years, I didn't have an account. I was blacklisted, and I still don't have an account with any bank, and I still get by. So.
All right. Anyone else at Bank of America want to speak up? This mic also reaches you, but you should. Did you want to stand on this?
No.
I had a Bank of America credit card. It was a AAA credit card. I didn't know what bank, but I didn't really use it. But I'd had it for 25 years, and I asked my 13-year-old, and I have a 9-year-old boy, to transcribe my letter to them, and. I said, I've had this credit card for 25 years. He's over there scribbling. I said, you're charging people to access their own funds? Because I didn't want to go into the 25 trillion of derivatives they've put on the FDIC. I didn't think he could understand that. So I just said, you're charging $5 a month to access your own money? I'll never do business with you again, and neither will my sons. In fact, and my son's over there writing. In fact, one of my sons is writing this now, and here's what he has to say to you, : And he looked at me, you suck. And then my 9-year-old said, can I do it? Sure, go ahead. He sits down. You smell like poop. And we mailed it away.
Why are we closing our accounts at Bank of America? Because they suck. I think a 9-year-old captured the best.
They smell like poop.
And they smell like poop. All right. Anyone else who's closed their accounts at Bank of America that wants to speak up?
Anyone?
All right. Oh, come on over. It's a friendly crowd, don't worry. No one likes the postmodern soapbox, though.
Flower bed.
The weeds. I'm Polly Laszlo. I'm Polly Laszlo. My husband and I finally convinced him to start moving our money now that we have a lot. I convinced my husband after the last 2 months that we finally needed to move our money for a few reasons. One, we had a mortgage with Bank of America in 2007, right at the height of the bubble. And we lost our house in a flood down south. And we called Bank of America to let them know that, you know, their house got destroyed in a flood, and wanted to know if they might want to help us in any way with the mortgage or renegotiate or do something. And all they said to us was so. And that was it. And we ended up having to get an SBA loan, and we paid off that overpriced mortgage, and now we are underwater when we were going to pay off that mortgage. But we had to build another house, so we're paying on 2 houses. But Bank of America got their money from the taxpayers through the SBA, and we're still paying on a house that doesn't exist. And then the other reason that really finally got us pissed off is that we pay our mortgage, or not, well, we pay all our bills every month so we don't have a balance on our credit cards. And we found out they call us deadbeats.
Yeah.
Because they don't make any money off of us. And here we are doing the right thing, paying off our debt, and we're called deadbeats. So that was the second reason why we just had enough. And I unfortunately got one of my mortgages taken over by Bank of America. So I'm just sort of, I don't want to pay more fees to have to renegotiate that. So I'm hoping that they'll renegotiate everybody's mortgages and make it everybody's value of their homes at fair market value now, so they're not underwater. So
That's definitely something we'll be working for. Other folks who want to speak up who've closed their accounts at Bank of America? Wonderful.
I didn't have an account at Bank of America, but I had a credit card. And I punched a lot of money through this credit card over the years. No more. Alaska Airlines, Bank of America, Visa card, no more. It's done. Everything at the credit union. If you have to use a credit card, go to the credit union, but don't use Bank of America anymore. These guys are crooks, and we need to teach our kids that they're crooks at an early age. Thank you.
And they already know that they smell like poop.
Oh yeah.
All right, I got one of these too, Alaska Airlines and Bank of America, and I'm cutting mine up, and I'm going to tell my husband to cut his up. And, yeah, I don't have scissors.
I have scissors.
All right.
Look at that. He's got a lot of scissors.
I got a lot of scissors. Make them pay. Make them pay. Make them pay.
Make them pay! 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 Make them pay!
All right. So, anyone else who's closed their Bank of America accounts? All right, I'll be the last one then. I got a credit card when I was 18 to build my good credit, and with a local bank in Michigan, which is where I was raised. And I moved out here, and shortly thereafter it got bought out by MBNA. And then a couple years later, it also got bought out by Bank of America. And so I've had this Bank of America card since I became an adult about 14 years ago. And I have transferred about $8,500 that I had on it from building a house over to OB Credit Union just yesterday. And then I also took my car loan for over $20,000 and transferred it to OB Credit Union. Did anyone hear what she said? Oh, make them do it. We are! All right. I'm gonna be the last one, I guess, to cut up my Bank of America credit card. I'm gonna hold this. And I'd like a big loud make them pay while I'm cutting it up.
Okay.
Make them pay! 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 Make them pay!
All right. Well, why don't we start another chant and let's march over to Chase Bank and do the same damn thing there. How does that sound? All right. How about hey, hey, ho, ho, corporate greed has got to go.
Hey, hey, ho, ho, corporate greed has got to go. Hey,